Shalom, Mashpaka. Shalom. Had to cut the first warning message short because we were approaching the 9th hour of prayer, the evening offering. Again, if you want further teaching or further information on the evening offering, on the morning and evening offering, and on the 6th hour prayer offering worship, then look to the video that Abba Yahuwah did through me, spoke through me, entitled The Abomination of Desolation, Part 2, A Call to Repentance. Nevertheless, I'm back now, Barak Yahuwah, with the rest of the warning that Abba Yahuwah has for his people, indeed, that he has for mankind. Indeed, that warning, his judgment is coming. And to get on board the Ark of the Covenant before the doors are sealed shut. Before the doors are sealed shut. And so this is part 2 of the message. It's not so much a teaching, it's more of a proclamation than a teaching, although it is a teaching, but it's more of a proclamation, it's more of a warning. And so this is part 2, and if you haven't watched part 1, just stop this right now. Please, just stop this and go watch the first warning, the first part of it. Be obedient. Stop this right now. Don't start right here. Start at part 1 and then come back and start part 2. So beginning in part 2, we turn to YAHUAH'S now. Ezekiel, the 9th chapter. I'm going to read verse 1 through 11. Beginning at verse 1, it reads, "And he called out in my hearing with a loud voice, saying, Let the punishers, listen, let the punishers, there's nothing new under the sun. Listen, judgment is coming. And Abba has sent this proclaimer, his servant, by today, to warn you to get on board the Ark of the Covenant. Let the punishers of the city draw near, each with his weapon of destruction in his hand. And look, 6 men came from the direction of the upper gate, which faces north, each with his battle axe, each with his battle axe, each with his battle axe in his hand. And one man in their midst was clothed with linen, and had a writer's inkhorn at his side. And they came in and stood beside the bronze slaughter place. And the steam of the Elohim of YAHUAH'S went up from the Karub, where it had been, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, who had the writer's inkhorn at his side. And Yahuwah said to him, Pass on into the midst of the city, and to the midst of Jerusalem. Listen, and you shall put a mark, on the foreheads of the men who sigh and cry over all the abominations that are done within it. And you shall put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and cry over all the abominations that are done within it. In other words, the ones who are obeying Torah, the ones who are walking in righteousness, the ones who are on board the Ark of the Covenant, and in which the abominations that are being done in the land, I cause them to sigh and cry. It is a stench even until their nostrils. And to the others, however, listen, and to the others, he said in my hearing, pass on into the city after him and strike. Do not let your eye pardon nor spare. Kill to destruction old, young men, maidens, and children, and women. But do not come near anyone, listen, upon whom is the mark. Upon whom is the mark. Those and whom obey Torah, obey the instructions of Torah, who heed the voice of their Abba, and obey the voice of Torah, obey his instructions, and are indeed on board the Ark of the Covenant, and who sigh and cry at the abominations of which they see. But the others who are not on board the Ark of the Covenant, who do not have the mark or the seal upon their foreheads, who do not have the mark or the seal upon their foreheads, who are committing these abominations, or in other words, who are disobedient to Torah. And to the others, he said in my hearing, pass on into the city after him and strike. Do not let your eye pardon nor spare. Kill to destruction old, young men, maidens and children and women, but do not come near anyone upon whom is the mark, and begin at my Kadush place. So they began with the elders who were in front of the house. And he said to them, defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain. Go out. And they went out and struck in the city. And as they were striking them, it came to be that I alone was left. And I fell on my face and cried out and said, Ah, Master Yahuwah, are you destroying all the remnant of YAHUAH'S and pouring out your wrath on Jerusalem? And he said to me, the crookedness of the house of YAHUAH and Yehudah is exceedingly great, and the land is filled with bloodshed, and the city filled with that which is warped. Indeed, judgment begins with the house of YAHUAH. It begins with the house of YAHUAH. And if the righteous are scarcely saved, where shall the criminal appear? And if the righteous are scarcely saved, where shall the criminal appear? Indeed, judgment begins at the house of YAHUAH. For they say, Yahuwah has forsaken the land, and Yahuwah is not seen. But as for me, my eye shall not pardon, nor would I spare. I shall encompass their deeds on their own head, and see the man clothed with linen, who had the inkhorn at his side, reported back and said, I have done as you commanded me. I have done as you commanded me. The command has been given to go forth in Jerusalem and destroy and kill and do not pardon all those who are committing abominable acts, all those who are not making a distinction between the clean and the unclean as prescribed in this righteous Torah. All those who are ignoring the voice of Abba Yahuwah, who are ignoring his righteous instructions, his righteous Torah, and who are instead obeying their father Hashatan. All those go through the city and strike and kill and destroy and do not pardon. All those who do not have the mark or the sign upon their foreheads. All who do not have the mark or the sign upon their foreheads. Indeed, he has sent me by today to extend the invitation to anyone who have eyes to see and ears to hear, to come on board of the ark of the covenant and receive safety from the coming wrath that is getting ready to be unleashed upon this land and upon the Arats. Kazun, Revelation, the 3rd chapter, verse 7 through 13, beginning at verse 7. Indeed, there is nothing new under the sun. And to the messenger of the assembly in Philadelphia write, he who is Kadush, he who is true, he who has the key of Dawood, he who opens and no one shuts, and no one shuts, and no one opens. Indeed, when the doors are shut, no one are going to be able to open those doors. And shuts, and no one opens, says this, I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one is able to shut it. That you have little power. Indeed, the door of the ark is now open. It is now open, the ark. The doors of the ark of the covenant is now open to all who would obey the words of the covenant. Reading, I have set before you an open door, and no one is able to shut it. That you have little power, yet have guarded my word, have guarded my Torah. The word is Torah. Indeed, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. This is written by Malach, a sovereign Dawood, in the 119th Psalm. Now this is before the Ba'it Kadashah. He wrote this before the Ba'it Kadashah. And so he is not talking. Indeed, when this was written by Yahuchanan, by John, when this was written, there was no such thing as a Ba'it Kadashah. It was not written yet. This was not written yet. And so when the messenger here is talking about his word, how they had guarded his word, he's talking about the righteous Torah. Indeed, when Malach Dawood wrote the words that thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. He is talking about his righteous Torah. Because indeed, it is written in Devarim, or Deuteronomy, the 17th chapter, that if my people, if my ancestors ever wanted to choose a malak for themselves, a sovereign for themselves, then they were certainly to do so. But this malak, this sovereign, was then to take up the Torah that the Kohanim had, or the priests had, and he was to take a copy of it and write a copy of it for himself, and he was to meditate on that Torah day and night of the one in which he wrote for himself. He was to meditate on it day and night, so as that he would not lift himself up above his brethren, so that he would not transgress YAHUAH'S righteous Torah. See, I am giving up those. Let me go back. I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one is able to shut it, that you have little power, yet you have guarded my word, and have not denied my name. See, I am giving up those of the congregation of Satan, who say they are Yahudim, and are not, but lie. See, I am making them come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you, because you have guarded my word of endurance. You have guarded the Torah. You have guarded the Torah, because you have guarded my word of endurance. I also, listen, shall guard you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon all the world, to try those who dwell on the earth, to try those who dwell on the earth. Indeed, those who are guarding his word of endurance, who are walking in covenant with him, who have accepted the invitation to come on board of the Ark of the Covenant, will be kept from the judgment, will be kept from the hour of trial, which many call the Great Tribulation, which is more accurately YAHUAH'S distress, which is more accurately YAHUAH'S distress. Because you have guarded my word of endurance, I also shall guard you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon all the world, to try those who dwell on the earth. The hour of trial, YAHUAH'S distress, the great tribulation, the judgments that are coming upon the earth. See, I am coming speedily. Hold what you have, that no one take your crown. He who overcomes, I shall make him a supporting post in my dwelling, in the dwelling place of my Elohim. And he shall by no means go out. And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, the renewed Jerusalem, which comes down out of the Shamayim from my Elohim, and my renewed name, He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the assemblies. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the assemblies. Indeed, he has sent me by with a warning on this day that judgment is coming, and to warn you to now get on board the Ark of the Covenant by guarding his word, his Torah of endurance. Kazum, Revelation, the 6th chapter, verse 1 through 17, the entire chapter. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying, like a sound of thunder, come and see. And I looked and saw a white horse, and he who sat on it holding a bow, and a crown was given to him. And he went out overcoming and to overcome. And when he opened the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd living creature saying, come and see. And another horse, fiery red, went out, and it was given to the one who sat on it to take shalom from the earth. Listen to the warnings. Listen to the warnings, because this judgment is getting ready to be unleashed upon this earth. And it was given to the one who sat on it to take shalom from the earth, and that they should slay one another. And a great sword was given to him. And when he opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd living creature say, come and see. And I looked and saw a black horse, and he who sat on it holding a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 living creatures saying, a measure of wheat for a denarius, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius. This speaks to famine, the coming famine that's coming, that I believe that is coming very soon, that drought and famine is coming. Have you been observing the flooding that's going on in the Midwest? Have you been observing the severe storms that are going on? The severe flooding in the Midwest from which most of the produce in this country comes from. Most of the produce in this country comes from. Indeed, it is my belief that a famine, that a great severe famine is coming to this land, and that a drought is coming to this land very soon. Are you paying attention? Come on board of the Ark of the Covenant and listen to the voice of the messenger in which he is sent to warn you on this day, and in which he is sent to extend the invitation to call you to come out of darkness into his marvelous light, to call you to get on board the Ark of the Covenant and to guard the Torah, the word of endurance. And do not harm, and do not harm, and do not harm the oil and the wine, and do not harm the oil and the wine. Now you must have an understanding of Torah to understand that the oil and the wine is us. The oil and the wine is his remnant. The oil and the wine is what was given to the Kahan. The oil and the wine is which are the first fruits of the oil and the wine was given to the Kahan. The tenth of the oil and the wine was given to the Levites, or the Luim. Indeed, we are the oil and the wine, and we belong to the Kahan. We belong to the high priest, Yahushua HaMashiach, in which he is declared here, do not harm the oil and the wine. We will be kept safe. We will be kept safe, Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah, on board of the Ark of the Covenant. On board of the Ark of the Covenant. But when those doors are shut, he is going to declare, depart from me, I never knew you. Depart from me, I never knew you. Get on board of the Ark of the Covenant while the doors are still open. And when he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, come and see. And I looked and saw a green horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Shaul followed with him. And authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and by the beast of the earth, and by the beast of the earth, and by the beast of the earth. I want you to keep your finger. I want you to keep your finger on YAHUAH'S or Ezekiel, the 9th chapter here. I want you to keep your finger on YAHUAH'S or Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, because indeed there is nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun. And authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger and with death, and by the beasts of the earth. And when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the slaughter place the beings of those having been slain for the word of Elohim, and for the witness which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Master, Kadosh and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? And there was given to each one a white robe, and they were told that they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brothers, who would be killed as they were completed. And I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and saw a great earthquake came to be, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of the Shamayim fell to the earth, as a fig tree drops its unripe figs, being shaken by a strong wind. And Shamayim departed like a scroll, being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. And this is talking of the last great day of the 8,000 year, which was spoke about in the first video. And so we understand here that Kazun chapter 6, it is not in order, that it is layered, that not all of this is going to happen at one time. Indeed, this speaks to the beginning of the judgments, all the way to the great judgment seat. The beginning of the judgments, all the way to the great judgment seat. But hold on to your seats. And the sovereign of the earth, and the great ones, and the rich ones, and the commanders, and the mighty, and every slave and every free one hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him sitting on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, because the great day of his wrath has come. And who is able to stand? And who is able to stand? But listen, Kazun, Revelation chapter 7, verse 1 through 8. And I call your attention once again back to Yahawaah's, Ezekiel chapter 9. And I call your attention back to Kazun, or Revelation chapter 3, from those who have endured, those who have the word, the Torah of endurance, who endured the word, and who had been marked on their foreheads, and who were promised that they were going to be kept from the time of trial, that they were going to be kept from the judgments, and reminiscent of Kazun, or Ezekiel, or YAHUAH'S, chapter 9, where those who had the mark, were kept. Those who had the mark, who were grieved by all of the abominations that were occurring, those who were guarding the word of endurance, those who were guarding the righteous Torah, and who were kept on board of the ark of the covenant, who were brought safely on board the ark of safety. Kazun, Revelation chapter 7, verse 1 through 9. Immediately after chapter 6, where we read about these great judgments that are coming upon the earth. Listen, Kazun, Revelation chapter 7, beginning at verse 1. And after this I saw 4 messengers standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another messenger coming up from the rising of the sun, holding the seal of the living Elohim. And he cried, indeed, judgment is coming. Get on board the ark of the covenant before the doors are closed and before they are sealed. Holding the seal of the living Elohim. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 messengers to whom it was given to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of our Elohim upon their foreheads. Until we have sealed the servants of our Elohim upon their foreheads. Reminiscent of Ezekiel chapter 9, YAHUAH'S chapter 9, sealing those who are in covenant with him, sealing those and keeping them from the hour of trial, and keeping them from death, and keeping them from the judgment, keeping them safely on board the ark of the covenant. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000, sealed out of all the tribes of the children of Yasha'al. Of the tribe of Yehuda, 12,000 were sealed. Christian, you are not spiritual Yasha'al. This doesn't speak to you. You are an abomination because you don't make a distinction between the clean and the unclean. Therefore, you are just as unclean and abominable as the unclean thing of which you are touching. This doesn't speak to you. This doesn't speak to you. You are those who are not marked, who are going to go through the fires of tribulations in order that your wicked heart would be turned back to righteousness. This doesn't speak to you. Of the tribe of Rahuban, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Gad, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Asher, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Naphtali, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Manasseh, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Shamaun, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Lui, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Issachar, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Zabulun, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Yahushua, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Benjamin, 12,000 were sealed. Before I go any further, I need to open up your understanding to the fact that these are men. That these are all men. Yahuwah always only counts the men. He never counts the women and the little ones and the strangers that are attached. And so just like there were 600,000 men on foot that left Egypt the first time, that left Mitzrayim the first time and went into the wilderness, 144,000 in accordance with Kazun, the 12th chapter, are going to go into the wilderness. You see, this is the woman. This is the woman that goes into the wilderness. This is the remnant that goes into the wilderness. But again, only the men are counted. This is not counted the women and the children that are attached to these 144,000 men of the tribes of Yasha'al. And this does not count the strangers that will be joined to them. This does not count the strangers also that will be joined to them. But these who are sealed, are those who are on board the ark of the covenant. Those who keep covenant with Yahuwah. Those in whom the things that are going on in the earth are abominable to them. It is an abhorrence to them. They hate the things that are going on in the earth, and they only love the righteous instructions of their Father. These are those who are sealed and kept from the time of trial, and kept from these woes that were pronounced in Revelation 6, that are kept safely on board of the Ark of the Covenant, so that when the destruction comes to destroy the enemies of Yahuwah, as during the time of Noah, when the flood waters came and destroyed the enemies of Yahuwah, where only a remnant was delivered. Only a remnant is going to be delivered this time. Only a remnant is going to get on board of the Ark of the Covenant this time. Those who hear the voice of Yahuwah and obey his righteous instructions, who obey his Torah. Only these are going to be delivered. Kazum, Revelation chapter 14, verse 1 through 5. And I looked and saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written upon their foreheads. Written upon their foreheads. And I heard a voice out of the Shamayim, like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of a loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. And they sang a renewed song before the throne and before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. Who were redeemed from the earth, who were redeemed from the hour of trial, who were redeemed from the coming destruction, who were redeemed from the coming judgments, who were kept safe on the Ark of the Covenant, who were kept safe on the Ark of the Covenant. Listen, they are those who were not defiled with women. They didn't follow other mighty ones. They didn't follow any pagan religions. They didn't follow Hashatan. They didn't lay with any other mighty ones. They kept themselves pure. They obeyed their husband. They obeyed his instructions. They obeyed the Torah, and they did not obey the voice of Hashatan. For they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them on. They are those who follow his voice. They are those who follow his instructions. The Lamb is Yahuwah. He is Yahuwah in flesh. They follow his righteous instructions. He is the living Torah. Indeed, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He is the living Torah. Indeed, the Word is Torah. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Indeed, he is the light of the world. Torah is the light of the world. Torah teaches us to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean. Torah shines light on darkness. Torah shines light on crime and steers us away from crime, because it lights up crime and it defines what crime is. Thus it shines light on darkness. Thus it shines light on crime. He is the living Torah. Torah became manifest. Torah put on flesh. The word put on flesh, and he came and showed his people how to obey Torah in root and in truth. In root and in truth, indeed, he came to show us the ancient paths. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them on. They were redeemed from among men, being first fruits. Being first fruits to Elohim. Indeed, he only has one first fruit, and the first fruits are always given to the Kahan Gadol. Indeed, go and read Torah. Go and read Torah. The first fruits from the land or from the flocks or the herd are always given to the Kahan Gadol, which is to say the high priest. And these first fruits here, which are redeemed from the earth, are for the Kahan Gadol, are for Yahushua HaMashiach, who is Kahan Gadol, a high priest, in the order of Melchizedek. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. He's coming to redeem what is his. He's coming to gather what is his. He is coming to gather his first fruits, his firstborn. He only has one firstborn, and that is YAHUAH'S. Search the Torah. Search the Torah. YAHUAH is the representation of Adam. It is the representation of the remnant of mankind. Adam meaning mankind. And so for mankind to be redeemed, they must engraft into YAHUAH, whereby becoming a firstborn son, whereby becoming first fruits. This is the only way, through the Hamashiach, who is firstborn. And then you are to walk in the light as he is in the light, and have fellowship with him, and have fellowship with us. And the light is Torah. And whereby having the blood of Yahushua cleanse you from all crime. You are to walk in the light. You are not to walk in darkness after being redeemed from darkness. You are not to continue in crime after being delivered from crime by the shed blood of Hamashiach, who was given as our crime offering. And in their mouth was found no falsehood. Indeed, in their mouth was found no falsehood. What is falsehood? Falsehood is Torahlessness. Falsehood is Torahlessness. Falsehood is Torahlessness. Out of our mouth comes the word of Torah, comes the instructions of our Father. There is no falsehood that comes out of our mouth. There is no Torahlessness that comes out of our mouth. We speak in accordance with Torah because our Father speaks in accordance with Torah. For they are blameless before the throne of Elohim. For they are blameless before the throne of Elohim. Let's talk about that seal. Let's talk about that seal. 2 Esdras, the 6th chapter, verse 1 through 6, and I'm reading from the GNB. 2 Esdras, the 6th chapter, verse 1 through 6, and I'm reading from the GNB, beginning at verse 1. It reads here, and he said to me, I made this decision before I created the world, before the gates of the world were standing, before the winds were brought together to blow, or the lightning flashed, or the thunder rolled, before the foundation of paradise were laid, or the beautiful flowers appeared before the powers that moved the stars were established, or the armies of messengers assembled, before the air was piled up high, or the divisions of the Shamayim given their names, before I chose Mount Zion as my footstool, before the present age was planned, or the scheming of its criminals was rejected. Listen, or my seal was placed on those, or my seal was placed on those who obeyed the Torah. Or my seal was placed on those who obeyed the Torah. His seal, his mark is only placed on those who obey the Torah. These are those who are going to be redeemed from the earth, who are sealed because they obey the Torah. Because they follow the living Torah wherever he leads them, Yahushua HaMashiach. Or my seal was placed on those who obeyed the Torah and laid up a treasure of steadfastness. Even then I decided that since I and I alone had created the world, I and I alone would bring it to an end. And those who set their seal, and now I'm reading here from Nehemiah Anakamyah, the 10th chapter. Nehemiah Anakamyah, the 10th chapter. I'm going to read it in its entirety. Reading here, and those who set their seal, This has to do with obedience to Torah. Those who obey Torah are sealed. Those who obey Torah in root and in truth, those who have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach and obey the commandments of Yahuwah, his Torah, in root and in truth, have his seal. Have his seal. And those who set their seal were Nakamyah, the governor, son of Kalyah, and Zidkiah, Sharayah, Azayah, Yaramyah, Pashur, Pashkur, Amarya, Malkiya, Katsus, Shabanya, Maluk, Karim, Maramuth, Abadya, Daniel, Genithun, Baruch, Mashulam, Abiyah, Miyamin, Maasya, Bigai, and Shamaya. These were the Kahanim. These were the priests. These were the ones who set their seal. These were the ones who set their seal, who were charged to teach the Torah. These are the ones who set their seal. And the Luim, both Yeshua, son of Atsanyah, Benui, of the sons of Kanandad, Kadmiel, and their brothers, Shabanyah, Hudiyah, Kalita, Palaya, Kanan, Mika, Rakub, Kashabya, Zakur, Sharabya, Shabanya, Hudiyah, Bani, and Baninu, the leaders of the people, Parush, Pakath, Moab, Ailam, Zatu, Bani, Buni, Asgad, Babai, Adaniah, Bigui, Adin, Atar, Kiskiah, Azur, Hudiyah, Kashum, Batsai, Karif, Anatuf, Nabai, Makpiash, Mashulum, Kazir, Mashi Zabal, Zaduk, Yadua, Palatya, Kanan, Anaya, Husha, Kananya, Kashub, Halukash, Pilka, Shubak, Rakum, Kashabna, Maasha, Akiya, Kanan, Anan, Maluk, Karim, Ana, and the rest of the people, the Kahanim, the priests, the Luim, the gatekeepers, the singers, the Nathanim, and all those who had separated themselves, from the peoples of the lands unto the Torah of Elohim, These were those who cast their seal. These are the ones who were sealed. Themselves from the people who separated themselves from the people of the lands unto the Torah of Elohim, their wives, their sons, and their daughters. All who had knowledge and understanding were strengthening their brothers, their nobles, and were entering into a curse and into an oath to walk in the Torah of Elohim. They cast their seal. The seal has to do with the Torah. All those who have the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach and who guard the righteous Torah have the seal, have been sealed, and have been brought on board of the Ark of the Covenant, which was given by Moshe, the servant of Elohim. Let me start over. All who had knowledge and understanding were strengthening their brothers, their nobles, and were entering into a curse and into an oath to walk in the Torah of Elohim, which was given by Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and to guard and do all the commands of Yahuwah, our master, and his right rulings and his laws, and that we would not give our daughters as wives to the peoples of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons, and that if the people of the land bring wares or any grain to sell on the Shabbat day, we would not buy it from them on the Shabbat, because we would not profane his Shabbat day for anyone. Or on a Kadush day, and we would forego the 7th year and the interest of every land, of every hand. This is all Torah. This is all Torah, and this is why they were sealed. And we imposed commands on ourselves to give from ourselves yearly 1/3 of a shekel for the service of the house of our Elohim, for the showbread, and for the continual grain offering, and for the continual ascending offering of the Shabbat, which is to say Shabbats, of the new months, for the appointed times, for the Muadim, and for the Kadush offerings, and for the crime offerings, to make atonement for Yasha'al, and all the work of the house of our Elohim. And we cast lots among the Kahanim, which is to say priests, and the Luim, which is to say Levites, and the people for bringing the wood offering into the house of our Elohim, according to our fathers' houses, at the appointed times, which is to say Muadim, year by year, to burn on the slaughter place of Yahuwah our Elohim, as it is written in the Torah, and to bring the first fruits of our soil, and the first fruits of all fruit of all trees, year by year, to the house of Yahuwah. This is Torah, and this is why Yahushua is coming back for his first fruits. He is coming back for his first fruits. His death was in accordance with Torah. Everything is in accordance with Torah from beginning to end. It's in accordance with Torah. He came in the volume of the book. He's coming back in the volume of the book, and coming as Kahan Gadol, high priest. He's coming for his first fruits, which is set aside for the high priest, the Kahan Gadol. Read your Torah. And to bring the first fruits of our soil, and the first fruits of all fruit of all trees, year by year, to the house of Yahuwah. Also to bring the firstborn. Indeed, Abba has one firstborn son, and that's Yasha'al. Read the Torah. Also to bring the firstborn of our sons and of our livestock. Indeed, they are his. They are his. And he's coming back to gain what is his. All the firstborn of the livestock, or the firstborn of the flock and of the herd, belongs to the Kohen Gadol, belongs to the high priest. Thus, he is coming back for his firstborn. The firstborn of both man and beast belongs to Yahuwah, but he declares, of my firstborn sons you shall redeem. And so he's only coming back as the Kohen Gadol to redeem his firstborn son, Yashar'al, and those engrafted into her. Also, to bring the firstborn of our sons and our livestock, read your Torah. As it is written in the Torah, read your Torah. Everything is in accordance with Torah. He's coming back in accordance with Torah. And he's coming to destroy those who are lawless. He's coming to destroy those who are lawless, and the doors of the ark are going to be shut, and the doors to the wedding feast are going to be shut, and he's going to declare, depart from me, I never knew you, you who practice Torahlessness or lawlessness. As it is written in the Torah, and the firstlings of our herds and our flocks to the house of our Elohim, to the Kohanim attending in the house of our Elohim. It belongs to them. We belong to him. The firstborn belonged to the Kohen Gadol, to the high priest. His firstborn son, Yashar'al, the first fruits of the land, Yashar'al, belongs to the Kohen Gadol. It belongs to him. And that we should bring the first fruits of our dough and our contributions, and the first fruit from all kinds of trees, of new wine, and of oil. Indeed, Chazon 6 talks to the oil and the wine, the first fruits of the oil and the wine, and he declares, do not what? Do not harm the oil and the wine. And that we should bring the first fruits of our dough and our contributions and the fruit from all kinds of trees, of new wine and of oil, to the Kohanim, to the storerooms of the house of our Elohim, to the house of our Elohim. It belongs to them. And the tithes of our land to the Luim. And the tithes of our land to the Luim. The tithes of our land, not of our pocketbooks. The tithes of our land goes to the Levites. To the Levites. Indeed, this is reminiscent, in my belief, this is reminiscent of the tenth of mankind that is going to be delivered. That is going to be delivered. This is a tenth of the mankind. This is a remnant, a tenth of mankind that is going to be left when the Hamashiach comes back. A tenth of them that is going to be left and are going to be given as servants. That are going to be given as servants. And the tithes of our land to the Luim. Indeed, it's all. Do you think it's all about the tithes of the land? He's trying to teach you something. He's trying to instruct you. This is what Torah means, instructions. He's trying to instruct you about his righteousness and about his righteous plan for his creation, hidden within his Torah and hidden within his Muadim, his appointed times. He's trying to instruct you, but you reject his instructions. Thus you are ignorant. Thus you are ignorant. And so the tithe of the land are not the fields white, but the workers are few. He's talking about us. And so the tithe will go to the Luim. Indeed, the tithe, the tent that are left when he comes back, because only a remnant is going to be left. It's going to be given to us for servants. Are going to be given to us for servants. For the Luim should receive the tithes in all our rural towns. And the Kohen, son of Aharon, shall be with the Luim when the Luim receive the tithes. And the Luim bring up a tenth of the tithes to the house of our Elohim, to the rooms of the storehouse. For the children of Yashar'al and the children of Lui bring the offering of the grain, of the new wine, and of the oil. Indeed, we are the new wine and the oil. We are the first fruits of the oil and the wine. We are the first fruits of the land. We are the first to split the womb. We are his firstborn son. And it has been declared to not harm the oil and the wine. Indeed, the Kohen Gadol is coming back for what belongs to him. The first fruits. The first fruits from the soil and from the oil and from the wine, and the first to split the womb. Indeed, Yashar'al is his firstborn son. Is his firstborn son. And the tenth or the tithe that is left over from mankind after destruction comes, after he comes with his sword, the tithe, the tenth of mankind that is left are going to be given to us as servants. Barak Yahuwah. There's nothing new under the sun, and his Torah is eternal. Of the new wine and the oil to the storerooms where the vessels of the set-apart places are, where the Kohanim who attend and the gatekeepers and the singers are. And we should not neglect the house of our Elohim. And so we see that they set their seal. They set their seal. They set their seal which has to do with the guarding of Torah. And those who guard the Torah in root and in truth, and who have the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, will be sealed. Will be sealed. And we are invited on board of the Ark of the Covenant now, so that when the doors are shut and sealed, we will be sealed inside, because we have the seal, the mark on our foreheads, because we guard his righteous Torah and root and in truth, and we have the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, verse 7 through 12. 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, verse 7 through 12. For the secret of lawlessness, Torahlessness, disobedience to Torah, is already at work, only until he who now restrains comes out of the midst. And then the lawless one, the Torahless one, the disobedient one to Torah, Hashatan, who will assume flesh. As truth assumed flesh, as Torah assumed flesh, as the word became flesh, crime, Torahlessness, is also going to become flesh soon. And then the lawless one, the Torahless one, shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the root of his mouth and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one, the Torahless one, is according to the working of Hashatan, and many of you Christians are already worshiping him because you are Torahless. You're Torahless, and you're not going to get on the ark, and the doors are going to be shut, and you're going to cry out to have him open the door, and he's going to declare, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. He only knows those who obey him. He only knows those who are in covenant with him, who are married to him, who obey the voice of their husband, who obey the voice of Torah. The coming of the lawless one, the Torahless one, is according to the working of Shaitan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, of untruth, which has to do with lawlessness, I bring your attention back again to Revelation 14, to the 144,000 whose mouth was found no falsehood, and whose mouth was found no Torahlessness. We speak only in accordance to Torah. We speak only in accordance with the root of truth, who speaks only truth, who speaks only in accordance with Torah. He speaks only what he hears the Father say, and the Father, who is the living Torah, the root who is Torah, only speaks in accordance with Torah. And that root that indwells you, who speaks contrary to Torah, is the root of the lawless one, of the Torahless one. It is not the root. It is not the root of the living Torah, who speaks only in accordance with Torah. And thus, you're going to be knocking on that door, and he's going to declare to you, depart from me. I never knew you. You who work lawlessness, you who work Torahlessness. So the coming of the lawless one, the Torahless one, is according to the working of Shaitan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, of Torahlessness, and with all deceit of unrighteousness, of Torahlessness, in those perishing. Because why? Because they did not receive the love of the truth. They did not receive the love of Torah. Thy word is Torah. Thy word is truth. Kadush them in truth. Thy word is truth. Thy word is Torah. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Because they did not receive the love of the truth, which is Torah. You rejected a messenger of truth who speaks in accordance with Torah. You rejected a messenger of truth in lieu of falsehood, in lieu of these false messengers, these false teachers, these false preachers who stand before you, fleecing you Sunday after Sunday, the day after the sun. You would prefer to listen to them than to a messenger of truth who's crying out in the wilderness and who is inviting you on board the Ark of the Covenant while it is still open. And those who are perishing because they did not receive the love of the truth of the Torah, in order for them to be saved, in order for them to be delivered. Indeed, read your Torah. It is written in Torah that if we are careful to obey the words of Torah, that we are careful to obey his laws, statutes, and commandment, then we will live because of it. We will be delivered because of it. That has not changed. HaMashiach spoke the same words. When the teacher came to him and asked him, good teacher, master, what shall I do to inherit everlasting life? What shall I do to inherit everlasting life? Yahushua responds, you've read the Torah. What does it say? How does it read? How does it read? And he went on to repeat the Torah, and Yahushua declared, do this and you shall live. Do this and you shall live. Obey the Torah and you shall live. He never spoke contrary to Torah. How can he speak contrary to Torah when he is the living Torah? Thus, if we are careful to obey his laws, statutes, and commandments written in the Torah, minus the sacrificial law, minus the sacrificial instruction, then we will live. He will seal us with his mark. He will seal us with the mark of the covenant because we obey the words of the covenant. And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion. Why? Because they rejected the truth. They rejected the truth of the Torah. They rejected his righteous servants. They rejected his messengers of truth, which speak in accordance with Torah, calling us, saying that we are in a cult, mocking us, saying all manner of unclean and untruthful things about us. But Baruch are those when we're persecuted for righteousness' sake. Baruch are those when men say all manner of untruth to them, against them, or about them. Celebrate, for your reward is great. For also did they say false things against the Nabi'im before you. Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion, for them to believe the falsehood, for them to believe the untruth, for them to believe Torahlessness, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, the Torah, but have delighted in unrighteousness, Torahlessness. Indeed, he has sent a messenger by today to warn you to Teshuvah, to warn you to get on board the Ark of the Covenant and align yourself with the instructions of the righteous Torah, thus becoming sealed. Thus gaining safety on board the Ark of the Covenant while the doors are still open. Hosea, the 4th chapter, verse 1 through 6. Hosea, the 4th chapter, verse 1 through 6. Hear the word of Yahuwah, you children of Yasha'al. For Yahuwah has a case against the inhabitants of the land. For there is no truth. There is no truth. There is no Torah. There is no Torah or loving commitment or knowledge. Our knowledge of what? Knowledge of the Torah, knowledge of Elohim. Knowledge of Elohim is knowledge of Torah, because he is Torah. He is the living Torah. So if you have the knowledge of Torah, then you have the knowledge of Elohim, because Torah teaches us and shows us the very nature and character of YAHUAH'S. For there is no truth or loving commitment or knowledge of Elohim in the land. Swearing and lying and murdering and stealing. Indeed, Yahushua is the living Torah. He is the living Torah, and he walked in Torah. He walked in Torah, and he showed us the very nature and character of Elohim. He was the very nature and character of Elohim manifested in flesh. Thus he is the living Torah. He is the living word. And committing adultery and having increased. And bloodshed follows bloodshed. Therefore the land mourns, and everyone living there languishes. Indeed, we're in this time. We're in this time. It's even worse now. This has been magnified sevenfold. Sevenfold. What we're reading now has been magnified sevenfold. And everyone living there languishes with the beasts of the field, and the birds of the Shamayim, and the fish of the sea are taken away. However, let no one strive or reprove another, for your people are like those striving with a Kahan, a priest. You're not to strive with a Kahan. You're to listen to the messenger of Yahuwah, who's been sent to teach you Torah, who's been sent to teach you to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean. You are not to strive with him, as it is written in Dabarim, in the Torah, in the 13th chapter, that if anyone strives with a Kahan, who does not listen to a Kahan, to the right rulings of a Kahan, in which Yahuwah has placed to rightly rule in accordance with Torah, that being will be killed. that building, that being will be shut off. And so your blood is on your own head. It's not on me, because he has sent me by to proclaim today and to cause you to teshuvah, to turn from unrighteousness, to turn from Torahlessness back to his marvelous light, back to obedience unto Torah. You have no excuse if you're sitting there and listening to the words of his messenger and listening to a kahan in the order of Melchizedek. You have no excuse. And you shall stumble in the day, and the Nabi, which is to say prophet, shall also stumble with you in the night, and I shall make your mother perish. Listen, my people have perished. This is reminiscent of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. They perished because of falsehood, because of Torahlessness. My people have perished for lack of knowledge, which is truth, and truth is Torah. Truth is the word. Truth is Torah. This is the knowledge of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah is Torah. He is the living Torah. My people have perished for lack of knowledge, because of the lack of knowledge of Yahuwah, which is revealed to us in the righteous Torah, because he is Torah. Listen, because you have rejected knowledge, you have rejected the truth. Reminiscent of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, you rejected the truth in lieu of falsehood. Because you have rejected knowledge, you have rejected the truth, I reject you from being Kahan, priest for me. Listen, since you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim, I also forget your children. Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, verse 1 through 6. And now, O Yasha'al, listen to the laws and right rulings which I am teaching you to do, so that you live. So that you live. This is an eternal word. Indeed, the Hamashiach repeated this. Do this and you will live. Do this and you will live. And shall go in and possess the land which Yahuwah Elohim of your forefathers has given you. Do not add to the word Christian. Do not add to the word rabbinical Jew. Rabbinical Jew. This is what you do with your wicked Talmuds. You add to the word. Do not add to the word rabbinical Judaism, which I command you. And do not take away from it Christian. And do not take away from it. This is what you do. You take away from the word. You take away from the Torah. And you're perishing. And you're perishing. So as to guard the command of Yahuwah, your Elohim, which I am commanding you. Your eyes have seen what Yahuwah did to Baal, Pa'ur. For Yahuwah, your Elohim, has destroyed from your midst all the men who followed Baal, Pa'ur. Who do you think you follow, Christian? Who do you think you're worshiping on the day of the sun? Baal Pa'ur is a sun deity. This is why you worship him on the day of the sun. All of these deities evolved from Namrud and Nimrod. Every deity on earth evolves from Namrud. Hashatan is getting the worship through Namrud, where he is being worshipped as the sun. You see, he desires to be worshipped as the eternal light. Indeed, he often disguises himself as a messenger of light. You see, he desires to exalt his throne above YAHUAH'S. YAHUAH is the eternal light, and the sun being the representation of the eternal light. It is not the eternal light, but it is the representation of the eternal light. And thus, this is why Hashatan is getting the worship through all of these sun deities. Through Namrud, he is getting the worship as the sun, because he wants to be worshipped as the eternal light. And so you Christian, you think you're worshiping Yahuwah. You think you're worshiping Elohim, but you're worshiping Hashatan, because your offerings are putrid to him. You're not obeying him. You're obeying your father Hashatan by getting rid of the commandments, God, by getting rid of the Torah, by worshiping him on the day of the sun. You're worshiping Hashatan, who is being worshipped as the sun, and you're not sealed. And you're going to be knocking on that door, and he's going to declare to you, depart from me, I never knew you, you who work lawlessness or Torahlessness. But you who are clinging to Yahuwah, your Elohim, are alive today. But you who are clinging to Yahuwah, your Elohim, in obedience to his righteous Torah, in obedience to his voice, in obedience to his righteous Torah, and thus being sealed, are alive today, every one of you. See, I have taught you laws and right rulings as Yahuwah my Elohim commanded me to do. Thus, in the land which you go to possess, and you shall guard and do them. Listen, for this is your chachma, which is to say wisdom. For this is your chachma, and your understanding, which is to say knowledge. And your understanding. Torah is our knowledge because it gives us a knowledge of Yahuwah. It gives us a knowledge of his very nature and character. He is Torah. And so Torah is our knowledge. It is our understanding. It is our knowledge of Yahuwah. It is our knowledge of Yahuwah. Without Torah, you have no knowledge of Yahuwah, and you're perishing because you don't know what pleases him. You don't know how to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean, and thus you are perishing. It is your understanding before the eyes of the peoples who hear all these laws, and they shall say, only a chacham, which is to say prudent, or wise, and understanding, knowledgeable people is this great nation, is this great nation. As it is read, we're talking about the seal, and how only those who are obedient to Torah and have the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach are sealed, have the mark of the covenant sealed upon their foreheads, and are safely even now on board of the ark of the covenant, only awaiting for the doors to be shut. Only awaiting the doors to be shut. We have the seal. We have the seal. Barak Yahuwah. We have the seal. But as it is written in Ephesians, the 4th chapter, the 30th verse, it reads here, and do not grieve the Kadosh Ruach, which is to say, some say the set apart spirit, and some call him the Holy Spirit, but that is false. He is not the spirit of Hali. He is the separate Ruach. He is the Kadosh Ruach. He is the Kadosh Ruach. He is the separate Ruach, separate from all darkness, separate from all crime. He dwells in unapproachable light, unapproachable righteousness. And do not grieve the Kadosh Ruach of Elohim. Listen, by whom you were sealed. By whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. By whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Indeed, those who were sealed with his mark have the Ruach HaKadosh, Barak Yahuwah. And we obey him in Ruach and in truth. We have the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. And we obey his commandments in Ruach and in truth, which is impossible to do if you don't have the Ruach. What is truth? Truth is Torah. Truth is his word. Truth is his word. And so he wants us to obey the truth, the Torah, in Ruach. In Ruach. We cannot obey the Torah if we don't have the Ruach. And if we don't have the Ruach, we don't have the seal. We don't have the seal. And if we're not obeying Torah, we don't have the seal. He's not going to give us his Ruach without having the seal. And he's not going to give us his Ruach without our belief in Yahushua HaMashiach, who then covers our crime. Because if you don't have the belief in our crime offering, then you're still a criminal. There is no remission of sin without the shedding of blood. And so if you don't believe in the crime offering, you're still naked and you're still a criminal. You're still a criminal. And you're going to be left outside knocking on the door. So you must believe in Yahushua HaMashiach. You must believe in his crime offering for the redemption of crime. And then you must tashuba and commit crime no more. Then you must be immersed in his Kadosh name. You must be immersed in his Kadosh name, whereby having the penalty of crime paid in you and through him, the wages of crime is death. And so this must take place. This is an eternal decree. The wages of crime is death. And so we must die. This is what the immersion is symbolic of. When we go underneath the water, this is symbolic of us dying with the Hamashiach and being buried with him. And when we come up from underneath the water, this is reminiscent of us being resurrected to the newness of life. To the newness of life with him. With him. Thus receive the Ruach HaKadosh. Receive the Ruach HaKadosh, who is the seal of redemption, who seals us. Why? Because we have tashubah. We have confessed our crimes. We have confessed our crimes and tashubah and repented from our crimes. We have repented from our transgression of Torah. We've repented and we are now walking in the light of Torah. We're walking in the light of Torah. We've been immersed in this Kadosh name, in the Kadosh name of Yahushua HaMashiach. We've received the seal of redemption, Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah, which is the Ruach HaKadosh, which is the Ruach HaKadosh. And now we're walking in the light as he is in the light, so that the blood of Yahusha continuously cleanses us from all crime. From all crime. Indeed, as it reads here in Ma'asha, commonly called Acts, the 5th chapter and the 32nd verse, he does not give his Ruach to those who are disobedient to him. You must tashuba, you must repent and begin to obey his righteous Torah. And obey his righteous Torah, whereby he gives you his Ruach, whereby you are sealed, whereby you are sealed, whereby you are now brought safely on board the ark of the covenant, as it reads in Ma'asha, Acts, the 5th chapter, the 32nd verse. And we are his witnesses to these matters, and so is the Kadosh Ruach, whom Elohim has given to those who obey him. To those who obey him. Indeed, as it is written now in Romans, or Romaim, the 8th chapter, reading verses 7 through 14. Because the mind of the flesh is enmity towards Elohim. It is his enemy. For it does not subject itself to the Torah of Elohim. To the Torah of Elohim. You see, Torah only Hebrew Israelites. The Torah is spiritual. The Torah is Ruach. And you can't obey the Torah unless you are walking in Ruach, unless you have been given the Ruach. You see, you're still trying to obey from your flesh, and you are his enemy. And you're going to be knocking on that door thinking that your zitzits and your head wraps and your name changes are going to get you in. And you making a distinction with clean foods, thinking that that's going to get you in. Not understanding that there's still a judgment decree that must take place. The wages of crime is death. You have committed crime. Our ancestors have committed crime. And so the penalty of death is still upon your head until you accept the crime offering which was given for your crime. Until then, you're still naked. You're still crooked. You're still a criminal. And you're going to be knocking on that door. And he's going to say to you, depart from me. I never knew you, you who work lawlessness, you who work Torahlessness. Indeed, for it does not subject itself to Torah. The flesh does not subject itself to the Torah of Elohim. Thus it is his enemy. Neither indeed is the flesh able. And those who are in the flesh are unable to please Elohim. But you are not in the flesh, but in the Ruach. If indeed the Ruach of Elohim dwells in you. And if anyone does not have the Ruach of Mashiach, this one, listen, is not his. You're not sealed. You're not sealed. And you're not going to enter into the wedding feast. And you are not his portion. You are not first fruits. You are not the first to split the womb. You are not his. You don't belong to the Kahan Gadol. You're not his portion. You're not his unless you're sealed. And unless you're sealed, you're not first fruits, and you're not the first to split the womb. You're going to get up in the second resurrection, where some of you are going to get up to everlasting life and some of you to everlasting punishment. Barak Yahuwah, because he is righteous and his judgment is righteous. And if Mashiach is in you, the body is fully dead on account of crime, but the Ruach is life on account of righteousness. Here now you can obey in righteousness and truth if you have the Ruach of Yahusha, if you have the Ruach of Yahuwah. Now, because he now writes his Torah upon our hearts, whereby giving us a love for Torah and a willingness to obey it in Ruach and in truth. And if the Ruach of him who raised Yahusha from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Mashiach from the dead shall also give life to your mortal bodies through his Ruach dwelling in you. There is no life outside of his Ruach. Only the Ruach gives life. He is the seal. He is the seal of redemption. He is the seal, and he is only given to those who obey him, who have a hunger and thirst for righteousness, who obey him from the right conscience, who obey him from the right heart, who have no selfish intentions, who have no ulterior motives, who do not hate their brothers whom they see, while at the same time claiming they love Yahuwah whom they don't see. You a liar, because you can't love Yahuwah whom you can't see and say you hate your brother whom you see. Indeed, the command to love Yahuwah with our whole heart, mind, and strength, and to love our brother as ourselves is one command. It is one command. It is one command. Indeed, we show Yahuwah that we love him through obedience to his Torah. And we show that our fellow man, our brothers and our sisters, that we love them through obedience to Torah. It's one command. It's not separate. It's one command. And so you can't say that you love Yahuwah whom you don't see, and say that and hate your brother whom you see. You cannot say it. You're a liar. You're a liar if you hate your brother who you see and claim to love Yahuwah whom you cannot see. You're a liar. You're a liar, hating him because you declare that all white people are Edomites. You're ignorant and you're a liar. And you're going to be knocking on that door. And he's going to declare to you, I don't know you. Depart from me, you wicked, with your wicked heart. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. You who work lawlessness. Reading on, and if the root of him who raised Yahusha from the dead dwells in you, he who raised the Mashiach from the dead shall also give life to your mortal bodies through his root dwelling in you. So then, brothers, we are not debtors to the flesh to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, and it read above that the flesh won't obey Torah, that the flesh cannot keep Torah, thus making you an enemy to Yahuwah. And thus meaning that you are not sealed. And thus meaning that you will not receive the Ruach HaKadosh. You may receive the spirit of Hali. You may receive this Kundalini spirit. You may receive this charismatica spirit, but you will not receive the Ruach HaKadosh. For if you live according to the flesh, you are going to die, because the flesh will not obey Torah. And indeed, we just read in the Torah that those who obey the Torah will live. Those who obey his instructions will live. We're going to be brought on board of the Ark of the Covenant. We're going to be sealed by the Ruach. And if we have the Ruach, the same Ruach that raised Yahusha from the dead will give life to our mortal bodies. If we are sealed. If we're obeying in Ruach and in truth. And only this way. And only this way alone. But if by the Ruach you put to death the deeds of the body, you shall live. Why? Because now we can obey the Torah in Ruach and in truth, and thus we shall live. Thus there is now no condemnation to those who are in Yahushua HaMashiach, who walk not according to the flesh, but according to the Ruach. Because if you walk according to the flesh, which does not want to keep Torah, you're going to die. But if you walk according to the Ruach, you're going to live. Yahushua walked for 33.5 years in accordance with Torah. He did not commit crime, and indeed crime is transgression of Torah. Indeed, it is written, we do not serve a Kahan Gadol who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who was tempted in every way as we are, yet remained without crime, yet remained without transgression of Torah. So now, let us boldly come before the throne of favor, that we may obtain compassion during our time of need. He walked in Torah. He is the living Torah. He did not transgress Torah. And so the very Ruach that put on flesh, that did not transgress himself, that did not transgress Torah, if that Torah also dwells in us, whereby giving us an ability to obey Torah in Ruach and in truth, because it has given us a love for Torah by writing it on our hearts, if we walk by the Ruach, whereby giving us power over the flesh, whereby we do not have to no longer give in to the evil inclination of our flesh, which does not want to walk in accordance with Torah. If we walk according to the Ruach, we shall live, and we shall be sealed, and we shall be invited on the Ark of the Covenant. For as many are led by the Ruach of Elohim, these are the sons of Elohim. Why? Because a good son obeys his father. And the Ruach gives us the ability to obey our Father. And if we're obeying the Father, if we have the Ruach of truth in us, we are sealed. We are sealed. and we will be invited on board the ark of the covenant. Barak Yahuwah. It's only good sons, good sons obey their father. Indeed, Yahuwah is Ruach. He is not flesh and blood, and thus we must be reborn of Ruach. We must be reborn of above. We must be born from above by his Ruach, whereby receiving the adoption as sons, whereby receiving the seal, the mark of the covenant. Because as a man, when a man enters a woman and enters into a marriage covenant with her, Yahuwah enters into covenant with us when he what? When he enters us, whereby marrying us, whereby now we become born from above. We're now born from above, born not of flesh and blood, but of Ruach, and whereby becoming sons and daughters of Elohim. I wasn't going to read this. I'm going to read one more text because it's relevant. It's very relevant for this proclamation. I'm going to read this and then we're going to shut this down. Barak Yahuwah, I pray that Abba has given you eyes to see and ears to hear, and that you will Tashuba. I'm reading now from Malachi, the 4th chapter. I'm going to read it in its entirety, beginning at verse 1. For look, the day shall come, burning like a furnace. This is the day of Yahuwah. And all the proud and every wrongdoer shall be stubble. And the day shall come, shall burn them up. Indeed, Yahushua is coming with a sword, and only a remnant is going to remain. Flood waters came the first time. Fire is coming the second time. And the day that shall come shall burn them up. And YAHUAH'S, which leaves to them neither root nor branch, only a remnant. Verse 2, but to you who revere my name, the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healings in his wings, and you shall go out and leap for gladness like calves from the stall, Barak Yahuwah. And you shall trample the wrongdoers, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet on the day that I do this, said Yahuwah of hosts. Listen to the warning that he gives us before he returns to judge, before he comes back with fire. Listen to the warning that he gives his people. Verse 4, remember the Torah of Masha, my servant, which I commanded him at Karab, and all YAHUAH'S laws and right rulings. Remember the Torah of Masha, my servant, which I commanded him in Karab, for all YAHUAH'S laws and right rulings, so that you can align yourself with his righteous Torah, so that you can be invited on board of the Ark of the Covenant, whereby receiving the seal, which is the seal of redemption, which is the Ruach HaKadosh. See, I am sending all Yah, the Nabi, before the coming of the great and awesome day of Yahuwah. Indeed, a voice has cried out in the wilderness on this Yom. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, a voice has cried out in the wilderness on this Yom, declaring to you to Tashuba, to repent, to come out of Torahlessness, to come out of lawlessness, to come out of darkness, come out of darkness into his marvelous light, into Torah, into obedience of Torah. See, I'm sending all Yah, the Nabi, before the coming of the great and awesome day of Yahuwah. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with utter destruction. Indeed, he shall turn your wicked hearts from lawlessness back to Torah. He shall turn your wicked hearts back from lawlessness, from Torahlessness, back to Torah, back to his marvelous light. Abba Yahuwah, I pray that you've given them eyes to see and ears to hear. I pray that this word cut, Abba, I pray that they receive this warning. I don't know how long you're going to send your messengers out to warn them, Abba. I don't know how much longer you're going to do it. As you sent my father Nuach and Methuselah, my father Methuselah, you sent them to proclaim for 120 years. We understand that you've shown us, Abba, that 50 jubilees that you've given mankind, 50 jubilee that you're coming at the 50th jubilee to gather your people and restore us to our land. You've shown us that 50 times 120 is 6,000 years, and that we're in the final days of this. We're in the final days of the 6,000 years, Abba. I pray that your people will heed and will hear and will understand, that they will hear a voice crying out in the wilderness, Abba, and that they would teshuvah and turn from darkness back to your marvelous light. I pray that this word, this proclamation that you have spoken through your servant, did not fall by the wayside. I pray that this word did not fall on shallow ground. I pray that this word did not fall amongst thorns, but that it fell on fertile soil, fertile tilled soil, fertile soil, Abba, such that this word, such that you will come forth, even after this video stops, by your rook, by the living water, by the water of your rook, and that you will water that word, Abba, and that seed, Abba, that has been planted on this yam will grow up into a mighty tree, a mighty branch, producing the fruit that leads to everlasting life. Let it be so, Abba, and a basham of Yahusha. So be it, so be it, so be it. Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. So be it, so be it, so be it. Shalom.